5 on WCTE and its streaming platforms to provide updates on communities throughout Central Tennessee.
All right. Hey, welcome to WCT's Live at 5. I'm Becky Magura and very happy to have you joining us and excited to have with me Corby King. Corby is the Director of Schools for Putnam County Schools. And Corby, what a crazy school year you have.
It has been, Becky, and thank you for having me on this afternoon, the opportunity to be here and connect with our local viewers. Yes, crazy is probably a mild way to put that, but it's been a good year. We've had a good positive start, even in the midst of all the chaos and craziness that's going on right now.
Well, I like your mask. You were showing me it's branded with the school system.
One of our supervisors, coordinated learning supervisor, printed those with us with the logo.
Oh, look at that. Okay, very cool. Well, and thanks for wearing that in. We know how important that is, and we know that the students are wearing the mask,
they are.
Right?
Our students are wearing the mask when they're inside the buildings, anywhere where we can't socially distance other than like lunch. But if the classroom, we've got some smaller classrooms that don't have as many students, or maybe in the gyms, or if they can be outside and they can spread out, then they can remove the mask. And we've asked teachers to, find ways to give them mask breaks through the day. Maybe take them outside for a few minutes so they can remove their mask. Or if we can, stand up and spread about the room, anything they can do to take a few minutes. But when we're within 6 feet of each other in the classrooms, in the hallways, just when we're in the buildings, and the students are doing great with that. We were a little concerned. It's tough. I mean, and even for us, we're several hours a day in the mask. And it is tough, and you don't breathe as well. It's hard to talk, but our students and our teachers are doing phenomenal with the requirement, and we do believe it's helping.
Right. I think it is an important thing to do. The state, Department of Health is really encouraging everyone to wear a mask, to socially distance, which is what we're doing, to use hand sanitizer and just keep yourself safe, keep your neighbors safe. And,
absolutely.
That's kind of how we're operating as well here at WCTE.
Yes, absolutely.
So I do want to remind you that we're on Facebook Live as well as our WCTE website, and we're welcoming all of our viewers for tuning in right now. One of the things that you've been doing is offering they can study remotely as well as being in class. And I know your teachers are just heroes because they are teaching both to the remote children at the same time they're teaching to the classroom.
Absolutely. Right? And Becky, we have the ask that we've put on our teachers is just astronomical. It is something we built a plan, student friendly, family friendly. This is the first time that we or any school system has tried anything like this. It is new territory. We didn't have the funds to hire a separate remote staff. We know that the remote option is important for a lot of families, but also being in school in person is really important to students and for families. We still feel like, in-person learning is best, but we want to support those students who, they may be in a high health risk group themselves, or a family member that's a high health risk group, or they're just not comfortable being in a school crowd. So we want to support them in that choice and decision that they've made to choose remote learning. And so we've done that by asking our teachers to do both. We've also realized that it's too much. And students, we've had to shift schedules. We've reassigned classes. We've moved teachers around. We've asked families to make a decision now to do this for the rest of the year. We started out our plan allowing a choice every 9 weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we felt good about that until we got in and we saw the impact that it was having on our teachers. When, 20, 30 students, and it could be just 2 or 3 for you in your individual classroom.
Sure.
But 20 to 30 students in a school might come in today, and then another 20 or 30 were choosing remote. If we went through that process in a school every 9 weeks, because we have to pull staff and assign them to teach remote students that way, or pull staff from remote back into in-person if they're coming back in person. And so it's not just affecting the schedules of those remote learners, but for several other students who were within the classroom and across the school. So this is why we ask for a decision, so that we can make plans that would be more consistent and really to better support the families, to better support the remote learners.
Right.
What we find right now, most teachers, and we've got our teachers are knocking this out of the park.
Oh, I know they are.
But we have some that are struggling, and we know that.
Right.
But we've got, out of those who are struggling, what we're finding too, we have teachers who are teaching their in-person students throughout the day, but then they're going home at night and spending another 4 or 5 hours at night teaching their remote learners and trying to engage with them. And then they still have to, do their plans for the next day and the week to see where their classes ended up. And, our teachers need time to care for their families too.
Sure.
They have to take care of themselves and their families, to cook dinner, to wash clothes, other things that we all have to do.
Right.
So we have to move some staff around in order to allow a little more opportunity for our teachers and students as well, but to provide more support for the students.
So what I'm hearing you say is, if a child is being right now, if a child is coming to school, or if they're learning from home, they're going to need to make the decision. The parents are going to need to make the decision to choose one or the other coming up. And when is that change?
September 18th is when we're asking them to make the decision. The changes will not take effect until after fall break.
Okay.
So you make the decision, but that allows us a couple of weeks before the break to work on scheduling, and then through the break and communicate with students and families any potential changes. And we can't really do that till we have firm numbers.
Sure.
We have to know how many students. Right now, in an elementary school, to give an example, we might have in one particular elementary school, 5 or 6 kindergarten students and another 5 or 6 first grade remote students. Well, it's hard to pull a teacher to teach just that 5 or 6 students because it leaves the other classes overloaded.
Right.
So what could happen is we could have 2 or 3 elementary schools combined and have a kindergarten teacher that's teaching, 15 to 20 students remotely.
Right.
And it just be more similar to what they would have in an in-person classroom. So provide better support for the students, but also for the teachers.
Okay.
So they're not pulling double duty. They're not teaching both in-person and remote. They're focusing on
one class.
That one class.
Okay, I think that's awesome.
We feel like that's a better plan, a better avenue. The middle schools have already made some changes. Now, again, after the 18th and we have these numbers, there could be some more tweaks. It all depends on where the students fall. In the high schools, it's a little more of a struggle because we don't have as many teachers. You have to match certifications with what they can teach with all of the different courses we offer. Sure. So you could still see a lot of what we're doing right now in the high schools, even after fall break. But there also could be a combination of things. Students might be assigned to our Vital program, and we'll communicate that to families once we have numbers. Just again, and if we communicate that and families say, no, this is not the plan I signed up for, we're going to be reasonable. We're going to work with families.
That's great.
We'll do the best we can. This, again, is to support our students. So.
Well, and, I just commend you and every single teacher and administrator. I know this has been such a challenging year. And it changes every week. It kind of changes. COVID has put us all into sort of a tailspin,
It really has. And at the first couple of weeks of school, when I went around to the schools and the classrooms, you could see the excitement and the joy just for being in school.
Sure.
But there's also some apprehension and anxiety, just the unknown. And what's this going to do and how's this going to go? But as we've been in school for almost 6 weeks now.
Wow.
And so as we're wrapping that up, when we go around the schools, people are calmer. It's like, okay, we can manage this. We know what happens if a student is positive in the classroom and we have to quarantine students because of that close contact. We know what that process looks like. We know how this is going to roll. We know the morning temperature checks and the questions that we have to do. We know how to enter those on the dashboards. So again, it's all becoming just a little more routine, which is taking time. And I think as we're open longer, the better we'll get, and the more efficient we'll be, and the more support we'll provide.
It's terrific. So. I want to remind you, and I don't want you to think I'm not listening to Corby, and I'm just over here texting a friend. I'm actually following this live on Facebook right now, WCTE.org as well, and Facebook WCTE. So we did have a good question that came in.
Sure.
What types of resources are teachers using to teach online?
It depends on the subject and the grade level. If you're an elementary student, the teachers, we purchased a curriculum this year through Amplify. Amplify CKLA resource that our teachers use. It came with a host of online remote possibilities. So our elementary teachers are using those, and also our math curriculum, the curriculum associates. So teachers have those available. Same thing, middle and high schools with that new English part. It depends on the subject that they teach. But all of our teachers are using Google Classroom. That's the learning management system that we're using. That's what we're asking students and families to become familiar with, because that's where your assignments will be housed if you end up being placed on a quarantine learning situation, or if you are remote, that's where you'll find the resources for the teachers. But they're using Screencastify. They're using, and I'm going to leave out, I can't ever remember all. Tons of different models. Canvas is another. Yes, there are lots of resources that we have available.
PBS Learning Media. I'm going to throw a plug in for that.
Absolutely. The teachers are using a wide variety of resources to reach. And again, some, this is two different skill sets.
Yes.
And this is something that's fairly new in education for us. We have teachers who've been doing personalized learning for years who are very comfortable in this mode and doing a flipped classroom type thing. So you've got some student choice, and you've got students who are in the classroom in person, and those at home can get into the Google Classroom and have choice. Those teachers are very comfortable in that. But we have some, this is the first time they've used Google Classroom.
Sure.
So they've spent some time this summer in professional learning and at the beginning of school, and it's still a struggle. It's just a completely different way of delivering instruction from what we have trained to do as teachers. So it's going to take time, but as time goes on, we will get better.
Well, and we are all in this together.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
We're really excited. Michael Aikens is going to be here with us in just a little bit from Tennessee Tech Center for Rural Innovation. We're doing a new partnership and going to release a new business program, which I'm so excited about. But we have a tremendous partnership and have had for years with Cindy Putnam and our Ready to Learn program.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're just going to expand that.
Read, Twitty, we're moving forward. The work that PBS did for our students, and we had teachers that were involved in that across the state, but 4 of our teachers videoing lessons in the day that we could send, that PBS aired, so families could access that content. And again, continuing a partnership like that between PBS and the school system, it is so important for our community. We still don't have broadband access across our community.
Right.
We are providing hotspots from the school system to families, but there's still some areas we can't reach. So in those areas, most people do have, a TV or an antenna, some way that we can reach PBS and log on. So,
well, we really love working with Commissioner Schwinn and the Tennessee Department of Ed and providing that at-home learning block, which started again this week with that content from teachers. You have a number of teachers from Putnam County involved in that. That's going statewide from 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. And then we have a whole day full of content that is really applicable for education and really lifelong learning. So,
absolutely.
We're just excited about the opportunity to continue that. I don't know if we'll get fully this next question before we have to go to the next segment, but I'm going to throw it to you, Corby, just in case
I'll try to talk fast.
Well, and if you need to bring it back when you come back, that's cool
too.
That's because you're not going away yet.
Nothing.
What can students do to maximize their remote learning experience? That's a big question.
Engage with their teachers. I'll give a short answer. Make the families being engaged. What we're finding, we've got some students doing really well and thriving in this environment, but we also have a lot of students telling their families, oh yeah, I've got my work, I'm logged in, and they're just not, and they're not completing that. So maybe the families send the teacher an email. Yeah. How's my child doing? Yeah, and the teachers will respond. We're great at responding to email. Give them 24 to 48 hours, because they are seeing an increased load of emails because of this situation. Sure. But they will get back to you. And just talk to and engage with your teacher, log into the class, be in the Google Classroom, find the assignments. If you're struggling at all, reach out to the teacher. We're looking again at providing more support for students who are in that remote environment and teachers, and looking at finding some specialized support per subject area. So those are discussions we're having right now, and based on our numbers, after September 18th, we'll have a clearer picture of that.
And that's really good advice, even if your student is in school,
person. Absolutely.
Right? Because I know you just had midterm reports come out, and some students didn't get such a good grade.
That is true, even for your in-person students. Yeah. If your child has not brought that midterm report yet, you might ask them, I think some of the middle school reports came out this afternoon. You might ask them for them,
Right.
or within the next day or two. But just check on that, or log into Power School. That's any day. Parents, you've got access all day, every day to Power School. If you don't know your Power School login, contact your school, contact the school counselor, and ask them for your Power School login access. And you can see grades, and it's got links to the teacher email addresses for every student all day.
Awesome. All right. We're going to be back with Corby King, Director of Schools, Putnam County, in just a little bit. So stay tuned. Michael Aikens is up next.
Thank you.
School's back in session, and we know this year is going to look a little bit different than it did last year. But we also know how important it is for you to keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing yourselves to be the best possible versions you can be. We are so grateful for PBS and the continued partnership to offer this suite of videos and resources and supports and activities that you can do at home to keep those brains active. Keep up the hard work, enjoy your school year, and we'll see you soon.
With any new school year, some stress for students and parents is normal. But this year, with the coronavirus pandemic and the uncertainty of what to expect, many of us are experiencing higher than normal amounts of stress and anxiety. And students especially may be acting out in some subtle ways.
If you're homeschooling, you're going to visually see them having difficulty concentrating. You're going to visually see them either dozing off or looking at other things or doodling or getting up from their chair and wandering around. You're going to notice some irritable moods. You'll see the snapping, more fighting amongst them and their siblings.
Parents can help children by allowing them to take regular breaks and acknowledging that this is a temporary situation. They can also encourage good mental health habits by emphasizing regular times for sleeping, eating, and exercising. Call 211 if you need free or low-cost mental health resources.
Hi, I hope you'll join us for One-on-One when my guest will be Dr. Mary Evans. She is a professor of history at MTSU, a scholar. She is an author of books. She's the daughter of Congressman Joe L. Evans, a native of the Upper Cumberland, and she will have much to tell. So join us for One-on-One. All right, so happy that you all are joining us. I didn't let him go. I said Michael was coming. Michael is coming.
I was on the way out.
I know, he was on his way out. And I said, no, wait, I have one more question. So if you're watching live tonight, remember you can ask a question on Facebook. But if you're watching on Friday, because we repeat this show on Fridays from 5 to 5:30, just think of something that maybe you want to ask the next time, because we're going to get Corby to come back. Hopefully once a month, Corby.
Sure,
That'd be
I
awesome.
can do that. Yes, anytime.
Hey, so one question I wanted to ask you quickly was, how can parents be in communication with the school system? I mean, you don't want it to be a one-way street.
No, we don't. And, parents are great at emailing. You can always, the closest contact for parents is the classroom teacher. After the classroom teacher, you've got the building level administration, but we also have supervisors at our office. Mm-hmm. So if it's an elementary student, contact Ms. Jill Ramsey, who's our elementary supervisor, a middle school student, Dr. Sharon Griggs, or a high school student, Dr. Sharon Anderson. Our direct contacts in our office, and they're happy to answer your questions. Send them an email. Their email addresses are online. Our website is pcsstn.com. And also we have a feature on the website called Let's Talk. Parents can pose a question on Let's Talk, and it'll go to the appropriate supervisor to get a response back. We get inundated with emails, and it is hard to respond to all. We try to go back through and respond, but sometimes it's just there's not enough hours in the day. Right. And I try to use, I've been sending out weekly communications. I try to answer as many questions as I can in that weekly communication that I've received from parents. I can't always answer them. Mm-hmm. The COVID stuff, there's just not good answers for some of this. Right. But we try to be as upfront with parents and transparent as we can. So shoot the emails to us, and we'll respond when we can. Also trying to find or talking about a communications person. Right. We're a small enough system that we don't have that many people. Right. So we all wear many hats, but we're a little bit larger than our rural areas. Right. So it may be time that we talk about having that communications. We've talked about that for years. We just haven't been able to pull the trigger on that yet, but we're still having that discussion. to find someone just to help with the communication piece and responding
Sure.
quicker to parents.
Well, we do want you to know that Corby's going to be a regular guest on Live at 5. So this will be an opportunity that you can know to tune in. And we may pick a particular, it's always a Thursday, we may pick a particular week each
Sure.
time, like maybe the first week of the month or something.
Okay.
But we'll keep you posted on
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
Corby, thank you so much.
Hey, thank
we
you.
are going to have Michael Aikens here with us coming up next. Thanks
Right.
for being with us.
Thank you, Becky, and thank you.
Hello, my name is Kathy Bertram, and I'm a doctor. You may not think of doctors when you think of helpers in your community, but helping is exactly what doctors do. You probably already know that doctors are there for you during your regular checkups and to make sure you're growing and staying strong. And they also want to help you feel better when you are sick. But you may not realize that doctors help out during emergency situations too. When there's an accident or when storms cause a lot of damage, doctors are there taking care of anyone who has been hurt and helping them get better. Doctors may seem scary to you because you usually see them when you don't feel good or when you need a shot. But doctors care about you and want you to be your best and healthiest self. So just remember, doctors are here to help.
Hi, I hope you'll join us for one-on-one when my guest will be Dr. Mary Evans. She is a professor of history at MTSU, a scholar. She is an author of books. She's the daughter of Congressman Joe L. Evans, a native of the Upper Cumberland, and she will have much to tell. So join us for one-on-one. All right, welcome back to Live at 5. Here he is, Michael Aikens. Michael, tell us a little bit about what you got going on at Tennessee Tech.
Absolutely. So at Tennessee Tech, we've got a lot of amazing things going on in the economic development realm. One of those is the Rural Reimagined Grand Challenge, where Tennessee Tech seeks to transform rural living through science, technology, innovation, and economic development. That's a huge program that we've got going on. We've had over 2,000 students, 1,000 community members involved, and we've written over $1.4 million in research grants in 1 year, and we're going to double that this year.
Wow, that's
Yes.
exciting. Well, one grant that you wrote, I know, is working. We're going to get to work with you
Yes.
on a new series.
Yes,
Tell
how
me
cool
about
is that? So we're going to launch in October. It's going to premiere on October the 8th. It is It's Your Business with Michael Aikens. And so we're telling the stories of entrepreneurs through their lens, through their voices. We're going to be with community leaders. We're going to have local celebrities. And really, it's all about inspiration and how do we get through not just the pandemic, but how do we get through trials and tribulations of, when nature, disrupts our plans.
Right.
And also, really, the message, too, is how do we expect the unexpected and how do we prepare for that? So it's an inspirational series that's really going to profile all of those things.
We're really super excited about this.
Yes.
I know Amy New is watching, and Amy did a lot with us on Business
Yep.
Profiles ages ago, as did Don Weinrock.
Yep.
This is a new little twist on that idea,
is.
though. This is very entrepreneurial.
Very entrepreneurial.
And we're really excited. Craig Gray, one of our senior producers, is producing that with you. You've been out taping already. How is that going?
It's going amazing. So really excited about the taping. And I think really one of my main messages for everybody is, like you said, there's going to be a little bit of a twist on this. And the people that we are interviewing and really experiencing are top-notch people. They're local people. They're in the community. And I want to give a shout out to Miss Marlene at the market.
Marlene Massa, yeah.
Yes, at the market on the Cookville Square. We actually taped our first segment with her.
Oh, wow.
And so we had a really great time with her, and she has a wonderful story. I'm not going to steal her thunder today, but I encourage everybody to tune in because she's going to be talking about how she kept her business afloat throughout this pandemic. And she's got some advice and some messages to not only our community on how you can support local shopping, because that's so critically important, but you can also help. We can help other entrepreneurs through this show as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And part of the idea is you as you're taping, you're also going to do some business tips and segments for Live at 5.
That's correct.
So as we kick that off in October, you'll be able to do some of that as well,
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, one of the things is, we have so many resources for entrepreneurs and community resources that, quite frankly, a lot of people don't know about them, especially in our rural areas. And that's one of the great things about WCTE is being able to get out in those rural areas and give our message to them. So we're going to be able to have business tips and advice, and we will also be detailing the resources that we have available. So the first episode, we're going to have Tyler Asher, who is the director of the Small Business Development Center, to tell us all about the things that the free resources that you can get through the SBDC.
And some of the other partners, really in alignment with this Local Business Resources Coalition.
Right.
You've got the Biz Foundry.
We do. Yep. The Entrepreneurship Center.
Right.
Yep.
And of course you
Yep.
and us and Tyler
Yep.
at the Small Business Development Center.
Absolutely.
One of the things you've been very involved in, and I know the Biz Foundry has sort of taken the lead on, are these calls. Sort of these regular calls called the local business
community calls.
That's right.
Yep.
So tell me your thoughts about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that are not aware, about every 2 weeks, we do a local business community call. And that's a Zoom format, a virtual call, that every time we do these, we have a subject matter expert that will come on and talk about some aspect of business. So in the past, we've had Zoom Up Your Revenue to determine how can businesses have new revenue options for, through the pandemic. We talk about search engine optimization. We talk about building websites. We've had legal and accounting. And the great thing about it is, if you went out and tried to find somebody to talk to about this, like with an accountant or an attorney, you're going to spend $250, $500 an hour, and maybe not even come out with what you need. So the subject matter expert knows what our community needs. They talk about that, and then so that's about 15 to 20 minutes. And then for the rest of the hour, anybody that's on the call can actually ask questions through chat, or they can actually get on video and ask questions. And it's just been a really great experience. We've done, probably 5 to 10 of these so far, and we're going to do 50 over the next 2 years.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yes.
And I really highly encourage you. It's not limited. It doesn't cost you anything.
All free.
It is posted on our WCTE Facebook page, but I know it's also posted on all of our pages, I think, as to how you do have to register to get in on the Zoom call,
it's just a very short form, and basically we're not going to spam you or anything like that. We just want to know who's joining, so that we're actually conducting applied research as a part of this, and we want to find out who's interested, how did we help them, and ultimately how do we make these better and offer better and new and diversified content to our community viewers.
So, Michael, let's talk about It's Your Business in the few minutes we have left. That's the name of the show with Michael Aikens. So what are some topics that you've got coming up? Some really key things people can look for.
So the key things, first thing I wanted everybody to know is that we're doing 8 episodes, and each episode has a specific theme. The very first episode is all about e-commerce and taking your business online. Hugely important right now for, put the pandemic aside, every business needs to have an online presence, and Tyler will actually talk about services that we have for free that can help you do that. The second episode is all about music and arts, and I'm really happy to announce, you are the first to hear this, that Jamie Daly of Daly & Vincent is going to be our inspired leader for the first show.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And he's going to talk about how can we support musicians and artists throughout the pandemic and beyond, because that has been one of the hardest hit industries so far. So a lot of great things that are going to occur with that. We're going to have restaurants. We're going to have farm to table. We're going to go out to Wildwood Resort, and we're going to spend an entire day there.
I'm going on that tape.
It's going to be cool. They're all going to be cool. And then one that I'm really excited about is I'm a kayaker. And so one of our themes is kayaking, and kayaking has exploded throughout the pandemic. I can't tell you who's going to be on there yet because we haven't confirmed it. We're going to have a local celebrity in the kayaking arena, and we're also going to have, and I can't even tell you who it is, but you'll just have to find out.
What?
We're going to have some really cool cameos on all of these shows too.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Yes.
Okay, you know what? We're out of time, as I knew we would be. Thank you, Michael. You'll be back.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Michael will be back.
Yes.
And thank you for tuning in to Live at 5, and we'll see you again soon.
From one neighbor to another, WCTE PBS is here for you. Join us again tomorrow for today's show to re-air again at 5 p.m. We will return with a live news show on Thursday of next week at 5 p.m. Thank you for watching.